We are reading through the book of Genesis to start off the new year. Beginning of the year, beginning of the Bible. And Genesis is a key foundational book. It is the beginning for Christianity, for Judaism, for Muslim. I mean, it is so key. That's why we really need to look at it. We see a lot of connections already from Genesis through to Jesus. Today, I'm going to look at Genesis 18. Now, I'm not giving in-depth details because volumes have been written, hours, days, weeks, months have been spoken about this. But I want to give you a few nuggets, things to think about. In Genesis 18, we see Abraham with God and a couple of others. We don't know what kind of beings these others are, some sort of heavenly beings, perhaps even angels. And God shares to Abraham saying that he is going to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah because of how bad they are. This shouldn't be a surprise to any of us. Throughout the Bible, Sodom and Gomorrah are cited as very bad places, den of iniquity, all kinds of depravity. Deuteronomy 29 and 32, Isaiah 1 and 3, Jeremiah 23, Lamentations 4, Ezekiel 16, New Testament also, Matthew 10, 2 Peter 2, Jude 7, Revelation 11. I mean, it's cited all over the place as an example of how bad it was. And it's still used today in colloquial language. When people talk about, oh, we're getting as bad as Sodom and Gomorrah, they're talking about all sorts of depravity, all sorts of disgusting, horrible behaviors, horrible actions taking place. And it is so bad that God says he is going to destroy it completely. Okay. But then Abraham starts to, it seems like he's pleading for Sodom and Gomorrah, or maybe trying to bargain for him. He says to God, if there were 50 people, just 50 righteous people, would you destroy it? God says, if there were 50 people, I would not destroy it. Now, obviously, I'm giving the abridged version, if you will. And Abraham doesn't just stop there. So then he keeps going. What if, Lord, there were just 45 people that were righteous in Sodom and Gomorrah? Would you destroy it? God says, if there were 44, I would not destroy it. 45. And he keeps going. Abraham keeps going. What if there's just 40 there? God says, for the sake of 40, I will not destroy it. And he keeps going. May the Lord not be angry. But what if there can only be 30 found there? Again, God says, I will not destroy it if there are 30 righteous people there. What if there could be just 10? 10 righteous people in all Sodom and Gomorrah. And God says, for the sake of 10, I will not destroy it. And then the conversation ends. Now, there were 4 people who were taken from Sodom and Gomorrah before it was destroyed. Some people today wonder, why did he stop at 10? Why not all the way down to 1? Well, because if there were fewer than 10, they were easy to transplant, which he did. There were 4 people, Lot and his wife and their 2 children, and they got out of Sodom and Gomorrah before it was destroyed. All right. Is there more going on here? Well, we see the wonderful effects of prayer. We talk about today the value of prayer, praying for people, praying for all sorts of things. And we know that this was heard. God heard Abraham, God responded. In the case of righteous people, God never wants to destroy righteous people. I mean, remember back in Genesis 6, the flood, Noah, ark. God was so fed up with humanity, he was going to destroy it. But there was one righteous person, Noah. And he didn't destroy Noah. He kept him safe. Wow. We also see this as a sign of Abraham's compassion. Abraham truly cared about the people of Sodom and Gomorrah. I mean, he could have just said, Lord, get my nephew Lot out of there first and his family, and then just let him go. But he doesn't. One of the things that I love about this piece is it gives us a glimpse of what can a small handful of righteous people really accomplish. Remember in the book of Jonah, God tasked Jonah, go to Nineveh, the capital of the Assyrians, and preach their destruction. You tell them that God says he is going to come down and destroy. Now, right, Jonah wasn't happy about this, thus he went the other way, whale swallowed him up, but he finally did go. And what happened? The people of Nineveh repented. They put on sackcloth and ashes. They turned from their evil ways. And it says that God ended up not destroying them. His anger relented. So now think about here as Abraham's thinking, what if there was only 10 people? Imagine if there were 10 righteous people, God said he wouldn't have destroyed the city. What could those 10 righteous people have accomplished spreading God's word? What could they have accomplished in trying to help turn people from their ways, like what Jonah accomplished? That was one person carrying God's message. Now carry that forward to you and me today. There's more than 10 people in the church you attend. How good are we at taking that message out to a world desperately in need of it, to a world falling more and more into depravity? With just 10 righteous people, maybe that could have turned that city. Maybe that could have turned our city. Let's you and me not be stuck in silence. Let's reach out for people today. Genesis 18.